generally speaking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're on the same topic. Mr. Mojo is asking, I was wondering about the manipulation on the family level causing miscommunication or bad attitudes. Do you have any ideas on how to cut that shit out?
Uh, family stuff. Uh, yeah, well, just it, there's could be a lot of factors involved, but just generally speaking, uh, I picked the first. Which family member is the worst or the most big problem, and notice what they're doing, what is triggering you. Uh, and there's just lots of different things, but you generally what you want to do is those family members that are triggering your shit are doing things, controlling, manipulating. Uh, you want to take notes, detailed notes on what they're doing and how they're doing it. If you can't get away from them because they're family and you live with them or something, uh, you can at least start predicting what they can do and will do, and that's step one. And then the next thing would be strategies on how do you get ahead of the game. If they start going there, you say, "Excuse me, I'll be right back." You cut them right off. Like, I got to go to the bathroom. You don't really, but you they're getting on their routine, and you see it coming, and you can start breaking up their patterns in that way. Or they say, they'll be stand up straight, quit hunching over like that, and they're going to do it, and you want to have strategies. You know exactly what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and you just see, here's your mom, she's about to say that shit. You haven't seen her for a while, but she always says that shit, whatever that shit is. Let's just say it's you go, "Hey mom, how you doing? Hey, I've been practicing this posture thing. I feel more comfortable like this, but gee mom, you're looking pretty. Stand up straight, mom." Like, just throw
Right
some
back
fucking
at you.
wrenches.
Uno card
Yes.
reverse.
Yeah. There's all kinds of shit like that, generally speaking. But yeah, they're triggering your shit and they're manipulating you. And it's emotional and it's mental and it's all that subtle stuff. But yeah. You wanna do that? Yeah.
And there's a thing, sometimes there are specific people who are being targeted to mess with you, but there are those who are targeted directly through others. Meaning, if they have someone in your environment to control you, great. But it can be anyone.
Mhm.
Not to say that you should now feel as a victim and everyone's overtaken and oh my God, like I'm all alone. No, fuck that shit. But knowing that anyone can be used against you, whether it's your coworker, your sibling, your family, your lover, anyone in the like in your surroundings, whenever there's some chance that they get close to you and now they know that you get a reaction to that person and through that person they can trigger you, there is a chance that this might happen. So the important thing is like, as you say, like it's great when you know a person and what they're gonna say. But if it's someone random in the surrounding, like your neighbor that you see once every few weeks, and that once every few weeks is always a trigger, there's always like a situation between you and them, it's very important to catch what is it that happens that they say or do that triggers a reaction out of you. What are you feeling? What happens? What causes that reaction? Like, oh, well, I'm not the social person. Whenever I meet that person, I feel guilty, bad, or wrong, and they're trying to control me. And you look at the situation with what is happening, like, how are you reacting? Why are you reacting? Like the triggers and stuff. And look within yourself. Because if you notice that, okay, whenever this happens, I have fear and now I react this way, you can actually try to control yourself more. It's not easy, but it's a muscle that you can practice with every time that situation keeps on happening. You know, there's going to be miscommunication, and now there's going to be an argument, or that person will close up. You look at every reaction and you try to behave a little bit differently. You try to control maybe some of the things you say. Maybe you know that whatever you say will trigger an outcome. So now you change your wording, you change your phrasing, or try to fit in or adjust. Not to people please, but to avoid that argument, for example. But it's always looking within and your reactions and triggers and trying not to react to that stuff. Acknowledge that it's happening, but not give in and not become a victim of it, not to go into that rabbit hole of trying to fix stuff and then getting lost into this never-ending mess.
Well said. Along those lines, one other thing, so you're with the neighbor or the family member, and it triggers your emotional stuff, right? So like Akila said, don't go down that rabbit hole. But more specifically, you can say, oh, I just got triggered. I'm extremely irritated. This aggravates the fuck out of me. All right. Now, it's got a certain level of importance. It's important to you to not be triggered, and it's important to fix it. And it's important to figure out, why is this really happening? And it's very important to figure out how to make it stop. Okay. These are levels of importance. A trick is to ratchet down the level of importance, not the emotion. Let's say you're still just as irritated, but it's not as important anymore. Instead of it being really important with all these effect, it's like, and that was like let's say it's an 8 of importance. Okay. Just to go, you know what? I'm going to it's not important. So I feel this angry or this aggravated. That's a 2. You just determine it's not as important as fucking lunch. Okay. And you can make that decision on the fly. And it's a real fast shortcut on dealing with that. Because if it's real important, you're going to be thinking about it. You're going to be working on it, and you're going to be giving it attention and energy, and you're going to feed it. Okay. If it's not important as lunch, or your potato chip bag tore too far, now you got to get a new bag for your potato chip. If you make that more important, you go, I don't have time for this right now, Mom. You play with your potato chip bag, but it's something you can do consciously. There's a lot of different tricks and techniques, but these are some.
That's good. So now we have Bahir asking, how do you break free from a circumstance that has been ruining your mental health, life, and from which you want to distance yourself? Is it possible through astral projection?
You want to go first?
You go.
Okay, yeah, astral project, break free. When you astral project and you get away from it, whatever it is, for a little while, you've let go of creating the physical world around you. And now you're in your astral realm, and you're creating, usually unconsciously, you're creating the astral realm around you, or you're tuning in to a creation of other beings who have created this realm, and now you're tuned into it. So now you're doing and so you're adventuring or exploring or whatever in the astral. And so that is you're freeing up from that. But when you come back, you may or may not be refocused on that same thing. That's a quick and dirty.
Yeah. And also, when it comes to distancing ourselves from a thing that's ruining our life or mental health, I think we should not minimize our physical body and life. So I really like Gary Vee and Tony Robbins and other people, but mainly because there's been quite a few times where I've been in a really dark place and, going towards a suicide and everything else. And yay, everyone has that experience, one level or the other. But for me, it was like finding a voice that can shut off a lot of negativity. There are things that can really get in our mental health with what we end up thinking about and feeling, So finding someone that will shut it off, even for a few minutes, like as much positivity or a different voice that will quiet all the crap that's really messing you up. So earphones, listening to podcasts, and finding figures that either achieved something that you would like to have, or figures that would at least give you a different kind of thought, a different kind of look at yourself. I think Mel Robbins even has this thing where she talks to a lot of people, but she talks about her own personal experience. And there's a lot of truth and simplicity in what she does. A lot of people on a very day-to-day basis can relate to those experiences. Being in bed and not wanting to get up, having, kids running around, there's so much trouble in work, and you know, like you have this big project and then it fails. You get fired, you don't get accepted. Your biggest goal and things you've been dreaming about, you know, it's all canceled out, and now it's like, what am I gonna do with my life? It's all lost. And there are so many people who've been through that daily stuff, or whether we live with the narcissistic people or psychopaths or sociopaths and like all the other kinds, we have to find a way to shut it off, to find some distance, to at least get that some positivity within, and also look at ourselves. Physical body, take care of that first. You know, proper sleep, eating properly, diet, the very basics that can at least give you enough body chemistry to support you, to keep you running. Because if you just have on, you know, eating junk, not sleeping properly, not taking care of yourself, just the very minimum, breathing, drinking water, you're running on that 5% of battery. If you fix smallest stuff, it's not fun, but you know what to do if you want to change. Then you can get yourself on the 30, 40, 50%. And from there on, you try to take steps on, okay, is it triggers? Is it something I'm doing in life? Do I need to make more money? Do I need to quit a job? Do I need to move out of certain place and move in with my parents? Do I need to live in a basement? Like simple stuff. It's kind of hard to do, difficult. You might not want it. It's out of your comfort zone. Your life might change, but there are steps that you have to take in order to get some quality in your life.